Okay, we're going to go into some No Way Home spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I mean, it's been out for a couple weeks. Just, you got to go see it, man. Find a way to see it. That's all I can tell you. Okay, in the film, here we go. No more warning. In the film, Andrew Garfield reprises his role as Peter Parker from the Mark Webb Spider-Man, and so does Tobey Maguire from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Now, the big surprise that I thought I was the only one, but I guess it's becoming a thing on the internet, is that people loved Andrew Garfield. The dude is a great actor. He's done a lot of really, really good movies outside of the Spider-Man films. And in some ways, you would think he'd be one of those actors where he's kind of like trying to distance himself from that kind of stuff. But no, he's not one of those kind of actors. He totally loves Spider-Man. He's a huge fan of Peter Parker. He comes off like a guy who, even more so than Toby, I think, he comes off like a guy who is honored and privileged to play Peter Parker on the screen. And it's unfortunate because the Amazing Spider-Man movies were not well received. Whether or not you like them or not, you know, some of y'all like them, some of y'all don't, but they just weren't very well liked. And he was not the issue with those movies. I never felt like he was. I always thought that he was one of the good things about those movies. The problem was other things, not him. Well, anyways, people loved him in No Way Home. Dude, when he saved MJ, when he caught her, and he had that look on his face of like, whoa, like, I'm trying to make up for what happened to Gwen, like, what a beautiful, beautiful scene that was, yo. That was probably one of the most emotional scenes in the film. I would say that one and the Aunt May situation. Maybe I'll do a top 5 most emotional moments in No Way Home, because I think that would be a fun little video to do. But anyways, people want this guy to come back and play Peter Parker again. Now, obviously, at the end of No Way Home, he went back to his own universe, and Tobey went back to his. And there were teases in the original Morbius trailer that maybe the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe is the same one that Morbius takes place in, because we saw that one newspaper with who appeared to be the Spider-Man from Amazing Spider-Man, but we also saw the Vulture played by Michael Keaton in that one. So, a little bit confusing as far as where that movie takes place, but nonetheless, the fans have been going nuts on social media, all over the internet. They want more Andrew Garfield, and I think the time has come. There's all kinds of rumors about Garfield coming back to play Spider-Man in not only Doctor Strange, but there is a huge rumor going around that the Russo brothers are going to be coming back to the MCU for Phase 5 to do Secret Wars, and that they might bring back Tobey and Andrew for those movies, as well as Tom Holland. That's just hearsay, because that Secret Wars film hasn't even been announced yet. It would be probably somewhere in Phase 5, because Fantastic Four will be ending Phase 4, so it would be after that movie. They could do something like that. And I think that would be great. But there's also talk of maybe continuing the Amazing Spider-Man story. Now, where do we go from here? Because if you remember, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 ended with Peter confronting the Rhino, and then we find out in No Way Home he was able to vanquish him. But we also had the teaser for what was supposed to be the Sinister Six. That's what Sony wanted to do back in the 2010s, in that decade. And we didn't get that. Instead, they kind of canceled that series, and they moved on to working with Marvel and putting the Tom Holland Spider-Man together, and now we are where we are. But man, people really loved that him as an actor. He was so likable. He was like probably the one guy of the three you want to hang out with the most. You know what I mean? He just gave off that vibe, like a cool ass motherfucker. And they should absolutely follow this up with another movie. Now, should they go down the route of Sinister Six? I'm not sure if that's a good idea, because we just saw like a movie with 5 villains. Having one Spider-Man take on 6 without any help, I think would not work. I think their chance to make a Sinister Six movie was this one, and they only chose 5 villains. If you count Mysterio, I guess it would be 6, but he's not in the movie. He's just kind of like looming ahead of what's going on. They should just put somebody else in there, maybe Kingpin or somebody else, and made it the Sinister Six. But what can you do? You know, it wouldn't have been the original Sinister Six anyways, or the PlayStation 4 Sinister Six. I don't think they should go in that direction. I really don't. I think they should have a different story. I think Amazing Spider-Man 3 should be about Andrew Garfield's character sort of coming to terms with the fact that, yes, Captain Stacy died, yes, Gwen died, he's got a lot of guilt, but he has to let that go. And I think that him saving MJ was like his way of kind of letting that go, you know. And he has to kind of learn to sort of move on. So maybe introduce another love interest like Felicia Hardy, have her actually become the Black Cat in this one. I don't know if they're going to use, you know, the same actress, but I mean, they could do that, and have a different villain. I want to see maybe a villain that's never been portrayed on screen before, in the new Spider-Man movie, Amazing Spider-Man 3. I'm not really sure who. Personally, I would love it if the Kingpin became the next villain of the Spider-Man No Way Home MCU version, the Tom Holland one, but he kind of botched him pretty badly in that Hawkeye finale. That was not the Kingpin that I was hoping for. For as far as Andrew Garfield goes, I don't think the Shockers are really a good idea because we've already seen Electro, and that's very similar. We've seen the Rhino. I feel like, you know, it would have to be something like maybe the Chameleon might be a good idea. You know, a character that we've never really seen in a theatrical Spider-Man movie alongside somebody else. Now, when it comes to Kraven the Hunter, you know, they could, if they really want to go hardcore, adapt Kraven's Last Hunt, but I feel like that story is really, really controversial, and I don't think Sony has the balls to do that. I think they want to do a story where there's some darkness to it, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that they are doing like a Kraven movie, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's probably going to be a separate thing. And we already saw the Vulture. We've seen the Sandman, the Lizard. We've seen Mysterio. We've seen the Green Goblin. The Scorpion has been teased, but we haven't actually seen him yet. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to have him in there. Possibly even the Jackal, even though, you know, it's not like a really like a big superpower. I mean, he's superhuman, but he's not like a big, huge threat to Spider-Man necessarily. Maybe Hydro Man. We've never seen Hydro Man portrayed on the big screen. You know, and I think when it comes to Hobgoblin, I feel like maybe Hobgoblin would be in like a different, that would be more so fitting with the MCU if they use Ned Leeds. But we've also got characters like the Tinkerer. We could have Molten Man. We could even have the storyline where Peter becomes Man Spider. They could do something like that. The Prowler, I think, will probably be saved for Miles Morales whenever they get there, because I think they will get there. Possibly maybe Tarantula. Again, a different kind of villain, something a little bit different than what we've seen on the big screen. And some are going to say, well, you kind of need a marketable villain. Maybe not. Sticks and Stones would be a good one. That's never been used before. You know, something like that. Carrion, maybe. I mean, Carrion's a clone of the Jackal, but I mean, they could have Jackal and Carrion. I'm trying to go a little bit deeper, trying to use a little bit more of a deeper sting here, you know what I mean, than just using the traditional characters. Also, Tombstone. You know, we've already kind of seen Tombstone. I mean, where do we see Tombstone at? I'm trying to think. I think we saw Tombstone in, I think that, was it Spider-Verse? I think we saw him there already. That might be an interesting idea. Or the Beetle. You know, the Beetle or Boomerang. You know, these characters could work. They really, really could work in a Spider-Man movie. Something different, like I said. Something a little different than what we've seen before. And they have to also remember that if they're going to keep the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe going, he's got to have his own set of villains that are going to be different than these. So, you know, let me know what you think in the comments, who you think the villain should be. And I think they need to do the movie. I think they can't wait. They need to sign Andrew to a new deal. Maybe do at least one more Amazing Spider-Man movie. Make it a good movie. It has to be really, really good. Well written, well directed. Great story. And then at least he can have his trilogy at the very least end with a good finale. You know what I mean? As opposed to it being the first two kind of a little bit controversial. So what do you think? Let me know. I'll talk to y'all soon. Actually, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow because Book of Boba Fett's coming out. Hell yeah. See you then.